The last project I worked on lasted 2 years, and I threw it all away. All of it. Thrown away like the garbage it was. So, hopefully, this will survive. Yeah, no, it's important to throw that away. It was really important to get that out of there. I needed to get it out of my brain so I could get it out of the universe. Sonny is a mess. Sonny, you're a good pup. Yeah, I think the thing about what makes it hard to start is that you kind of fall in love with your own self, your own words. The way I've always thought about it is that the first time I write something, I want to be inside of the story. I want to be a part of it, you know. I want to feel what all of my characters feel. I want to be inside. But then whenever you look at it again, you want to be on the outside. I'm not with these people. I'm looking at it from your angle, and you don't know what I know. So when I'm looking at it, I have to think, if you don't know something, then I need to find a way to communicate it. And that also means that I don't have the attachment. I'm not inside anymore. I'm looking at it from your point of view. And you know what? If something sucks, you should say so, and so should I. So that's how that works to me. Yeah, no, you're going to be able to read it. I think also I was thinking about it last night, and I might, once I'm finished with it, I literally might just read it all in one sitting on the stream and maybe call that the audiobook. Why not? I don't know how many videos there are of people reading their own book from start to finish. I think a lot of people want longer books these days, so it would be very hard to do. But I think I could probably bang this one out in, 2.5, 3 hours in terms of just reading it from start to finish. If you look at every one of these, I spend a good half hour at the end of it, or not a half hour. I spend a good 15 minutes at the end of it reading everything that we've written. So how many of these have I done? Multiply that by 20 minutes. Oh, something got wet. All right. So where we finished last time on me writing this whole thing. We got Thirsty Thurston, the Count. He was propositioned by Molly to join the winning team. But we accomplished two things in this little piece right here. One, we accomplish him rejecting her for any number of reasons. Generally speaking, that she was cold and cruel to him when he was younger. But we also established that King Robes is watching. So he knows where they are. He knows what they're doing, all of that stuff. And we established that Molly wants to be her own boss, she would. So headband on, we begin again. Let's do it. No hair in your eyes. They chose a waxing moon for their work. 4 a.m., of course. But in the treeless water pocked Cockham Hills Gulf. golf experience. The moonlight bathing the ninth, the approach on the ninth hole. Don't need moonlight, we can just say light. Had. Oh, shit, I forgot to start the timer. How will we know that we're speed running? How will we know that we're still speed running? Four a.m. of course, but in the treeless light bathing the approach on the ninth hole provided sight. Through unseen. To enter the 19th hole. Required more than the spy shop binoculars. Reason. One of the inmates left behind had returned, don't put had, returned to the Crypt Keeper because he's one of my favorite characters now. Nice. I like that, Andre. I like that. God, I love having a puppy. To purchase rope, grappling hooks, and if all else fails, what are the things called? It is not just called a glass breaker. Safe hammer, car hammer. Okay. Oh, safe hammer. Nice. Safe hammer. To unsafely break open. To unsafely shatter the building. Just the windows. It arrived in a box, spiritually marked Acme. They arrived in a box spiritually marked Acme. Trun explained that despite their own increased visibility, the advantages shooting light sources of their own outweighed the risk to provide light for oneself To provide light was to reveal its source. We can use our favorite little semicolon. Thank you. Hello, semicolon. Excellent. This music makes me want to ask how everybody's doing tonight. How's everybody doing tonight? All right. I'm playing the jazz piano. Terrible. Fortunately, the chosen target King Robes already knew. Molly spent much of her youth calling it Dick Pigballs Golf Balls. Wait, what was it called? Golf Experience, Dick Pigballs. Let's see what it is. Never once did he consider they would choose another spot. To the Tonkin family, Dick Pigballs was a 103.9 Jazz FM. We'll be playing this all day, even if you don't like it. Turn it on, turn it off. Doesn't matter, it'll follow you into the night. Dick Pigballs was an eternal battlefield. Was an internal battlefield. Was literally a battlefield. Now, literally a battlefield. So we use literally, figuratively, a battlefield. How do I do this? Okay, let's do this. Literally, figuratively, a battlefield. Now, literally a battlefield. I love doing I've done it literally, figuratively, literally in just about everything I've ever read. Look close. There are Easter eggs. Like, I don't know why. It's like when Mel Brooks always puts a walk this way. There's something incredibly funny to me about it. So it was that the Count was there, waiting, hiding in the 19th hole, accompanied by the best men the best affordable men. And then that we make a sentence, because that's you'd think that there'd be more to it, but by making there no more to it, it brings attention to that. It becomes meaningless once you put affordable men, period. Whereas if you go accompanied by the best affordable men who could be blah, 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 you modify it to the point where you don't hit the punch the right way. Their attempts at stealth meant little to the prepared team. Wearing night vision goggles or heat vision or whatever. Infrared goggles. Red goggles made the Pink Panther-esque steps. Steps more comical than in movies. "17 former inmates and Khan and Michael slunk pointlessly over the horizon. "17 former inmates and Khan and Michael slunk pointlessly over the horizon. Assisted by 2 former mercenaries, armed to the ankles. Literal guns at the ready. Literal guns at the ready. No, I've already used literal earlier. Guns at the ready. An implied and implicit shoot to kill order alongside an explicit pardon of sins. What was it? What was it? The Catholic. Indulgence. Nice. Alongside an explicit indulgence. Counted and worried at the outnumbering attackers. Protagonists? Protagonists. Not even the Count thinks he's the hero. He had obviously underestimated the threat. A fault of his own to be blamed on someone else later. A small hope of his was to take them alive or captive, or enough captive to present as a gift or a bargaining for his life. Being outnumbered 2 against 19 made that plea impossible. Technically 3. 3 against 19 made that plea impossible. Technically, 2 if you count people who can help. If you count people who could do something. Hello! Sorry, I didn't see you there. Technically 2 if you count by competence. Competence. The math worked out to serious casualties. Cruel as he was, he didn't like to witness the results of his orders. In the abstract, he could understand. He could recognize that every decision he made led to the consequences of life or death for people he would, for human beings, no different by blood than himself. But they were far away. They were far away. These bodies would be in... Happy New Year! These bodies would be here. He hesitated to give the orders. He knew weren't his own, but were the extension of King Robe's holy order. Holy order, right? Murder. He spoke to himself. Relaying orders was not giving orders. He thought fleetingly that the Nuremberg trials were bullshit. That everyone had been far too judgmental of just doing your job. That really all sins could be boiled down to just doing my job. What's your New Year's plans? What's your plans for 2025? What is a new year? Then stopped. Oh. He gave a shit about their lives for as long as he could. Then the amount of shit he gave about his own life took over. Kill him. Just in case. Because Trin was all about just in case. Rade. Just in case. Rade and Trin had circled around. No, Rade and Trin had hidden inside the 19th hole earlier that day. No, what I'm gonna do, this is the point where Molly gets them in. Earlier that day, Molly found the use for her name. She sat at the 19th hole with two of her new friends, Rade and Trin, excused themselves and what would I say? And assumed hiding spots. Excused themselves and hid. When the assault team crested the hill, it was their job to greet them with open doors and they watched the Count and his two mercs hide in their positions. Hours later, they watched the Count and his two mercs. They watched as the Count and his two mercs hid in their positions, followed their lead into hiding. It was forward and back. It was. After the official close, after closing, after the 19th hole closed, they watched as the Count and his two mercs followed their lead into hiding. Employees gone for the day. 5 people were unaware of each other. Five people of varying levels of situational awareness, with varying levels situational awareness, adjusted their plans for rapidly changing times, for the rapidly changing circumstances game of blitz chess with a blind opponent. Though better armed. With a well-armed blind opponent. In a way, winning the game could mean different things to different players. Meant different things. Chess was only a part of the game. The board was only part of the game. A game of blitz chess with a well-armed blind opponent. The board was only part of the game. Trin hadn't planned for 3 obstructions. Trin hadn't planned for an ambush, but their contingencies can't be spelled. Their contingencies were expansive enough to accommodate. Rade counseled, as usual, that they were planning for failure. Trin's, I told you, silent, I told you so. Trin's silent, I told you so was the signal. What? Trin mouthed a silent, I told you so. Trin mouthed a silent, I told you so, as the mercs took up their guns. As the mercs checked their watches and took up their guns. They surveilled the surveillance. Unable to open the doors. Not unlike Endor. You know what I'm saying? still able to intercept the threat in time. Their Pink Panther-esque stealth walks succeeded where their cohorts hadn't. They silently slunk Tiptoed, starring Gary Oldman and Matthew McConaughey. They tiptoed behind the mercs. Their only instructions, what they had gleaned from years of video games. Their only experience gleaned from years of video games. Previous experience? Do you need previous? Is previous experience inherently redundant? At 4:15, the inmates drawing closer. Rade and Trin watched from only feet away as the mercs rose, brandishing automatic weapons designed for one purpose: hunting. They wore professional detachment, stronger than chainmail. They knew nothing of their targets. They knew nothing of the people whose lives were purchased by King Robes, whose deaths were purchased by King Robes. They knew commerce. Every step taken from high school recruitment on was toward the end of another's life. Every step taken from high school recruitment on was toward the end of another's life. Was directed toward every taken from high school recruitment directed toward the end of another's life. That's a nice little implication. I like that. Am I going to explain it? No! That's not how this works. To their surprise, Their last steps were aimed toward death were cut short by we're in the wrong direction. To their surprise, their last steps pointed, as it were, toward the feared assault. We're short.
What's going on, little Sonny? What's going on, little Sonny? Come on, get in here. Good girl.
Yeah. We're shorter than expected. Their last steps pointed, as they were, toward the feared assault. Were shorter than expected, went no distance at all. They were garroted without ever knowing who or why. What are trapdoor spiders? Oh, hello. There are a lot of trapdoor spiders. Holy shit. Wasps and spiders have a whole thing going on. Man, this is nuts. All types of insects, even frogs, baby birds, baby snakes, mice, and small fish. Baby snakes. Perfect. That's what we're looking for. Like baby snakes slithering on the home of a trapdoor spider. They were garroted without ever knowing who or why. Neither spider was as in shape as Trin would have preferred. Trin preferred an overlooked aspect of the plan. These were not average-sized men. They were professional soldiers, 220 pounds each, at least, head covered with. They were outfitted with baby noodles. They were outfitted with an additional 25 pounds made of made of materials that, when they hit the floor, made too much noise. The Count heard heard his failure, his impending failure echo throughout the pro shop. It was a familiar sound. Though every iteration was unique, it was still a familiar sound. Failure had a music he heard often. His father played for him often. Failure was a music. Was a song his father sang often. And then Rade. Rade flinched at the weight, landing on his knee. He had fallen backward, and the recently deceased fell. The weight fell. The weight pulled him down, and the recently deceased landed, flinched. Rade flinched. He yelped. The weight pulled him down, and the recently deceased landed on his knee. Hyperextending it in the worst direction. Tearing tendons. That's not terrible. I don't think they're going to be okay. The pain was greater than he imagined. The awareness of rapidly deteriorating odds of success was worse. The pain greater than he could have imagined. The pain greater than he imagined. The awareness of rapidly deteriorating odds worse. better. Trin's inherent. Trin's natural grace kept them from taking a blow or falling or losing balance. The Count barreled toward the source of noise. Rade and Trin could see a path to his could see a straight line. Saw a straight line to his fall. They ran, gathering speed on their toes, leaping with high kick as a weapon. They missed by several feet. Knocking over tens of thousands of dollars worth of drivers and wedges. The Count stopped running to cower at the source. At the new noise. Then watched the dominoes. Watched the golf bags. Golf bags drop in domino style, in classical domino style. Trin used the time to recover. Lifting themselves up off the floor. Then falling, then getting low, then dropping, then dropped again, then swung a foot at his frozen legs, attempting to trip him. An attack that always worked in the movies. The Count's thighs were as heavy as Trin, and his center of gravity low enough to draw in nearby planets. So rather than fall hard, then rather the results were trend falling, trend breaking, trend. The results were let's do this. All right. This is what I want to listen to for now. All right, better. The results to be expected. He looked down at the vibrating foot. The reaction pained as when a bat hits a thing. The reaction. Like the reaction pained his calf. The reaction from Trin pained his calf. Might later show a bruise, he thought. My calf might later show a bruise, he thought. But shock at their survival caused him to jump in the air like a cartoon matron seeing a mouse. He gave an undignified squeak. He let out an undignified squeak. Yeah. Instead of pressing his attack, instead of counterattacking, he leaned on his instinct to hide. He ran behind what's they call it? The checkout desk? The checkout behind the checkout counter, the checkout machine. He ran behind, what do they call it? The checkout place. Sunny Soki. He was underneath the desk customers used to check out, holding a credit card machine in his hand like a brick ready to throw. He was surrounded by golf clubs, but they were expensive. But they are expensive. Trin and Rade were equally surprised by his reaction, covering their mouths to keep from sharing their location. Grunting in pain. Rade covered his mouth to keep from sharing his location, suppressing painful grunts. Wanted something. Something was wrong. He was wrong. He felt wrong. Count's next instinct was honed over years of initial roadblocks, honed over years of being wealthy. Honed over his decades of wealth to talk. I don't think you're supposed to be in here. All right. There we go. Nice little action scene for you. You know how I hate making things happen. I despise it. But there you go. Lieutenant. How do you spell lieutenant? What? Jesus Christ. That's what it is. Oh my God. I completely... how dare you? If you always remember how to spell lieutenant, you're a psychopath. Or maybe you're just in the army. Valentino spoke to the gathered men. To defeat one's enemy, one must first understand them, think like them, know them, and then be better. It's not enough to have overwhelming force, though it helps. You must have overwhelming strategy These idiots are going to head straight for the main office. They're going to try to steal the names and bank accounts and damn near everything from the wealthiest men in Hawaii. Then they're going to steal everything not tied down. Right, Eric? Right? It's a disgusting word. the French. You two, go with the count. Keep him from pissing himself. And make sure he doesn't get in our way. You're stationed in the 19th hole. Don't forget that you have to pay for everything you break. You break it, you bought it, and that shit ain't cheap. The bosses. The rest of you. Find your bird's nest in the parking lot. In the sand traps. In the practice putting greens. Find your bird nest in the practice putting greens. I don't care. I just want people stationed around this place like bees hovering around the hive. If they pop out of a water hazard with a breathing tube, I want you to already have set up beneath them. I want to laugh at how desperate and stupid these people are. Oh, that's not bad. That's not bad. That's not bad, Eric. On the other hand, who was the better bad lieutenant, Nicolas Cage or Harvey Keitel? That's the question. We've got 2 ghillie suits. All this camo, all the makeup, this shit. Be invisible. It's your profession, for God's sakes. We are here to save money, and don't you forget it. I want men inside the ceiling tiles. Be alert. These are escaped inmates. They're willing to fight with their teeth. You don't need to know what they're thinking. You don't need to treat them like people. You need to treat them like people. They're animals. The mercs took their myriad positions. Former Marine covered in sand. A Navy SEAL. Former SEAL team. Hung from street lamps. Couple of weirdos who love guns. Held home funds in front of their faces. Wanting to start shooting faster. Daryl, one of the men, and ordered to protect the count. And advocated for taking Kingwood's joining a better company. All right. All right. The occupants of the 19th hole they didn't see what appeared to be. They didn't see more than the other 8 mercenaries emerge from there. They spiraled out. They spiraled out. Desperate to fulfilling, no, spiraled out when spiraled out at 4:25. Catching the approaching inmates off guard. The mercenaries close enough, shouting, "Get down, get down." Molly and Khan and Michael revealed they had no, that's stupid. Dumb. Stop. Ooh, this might actually be garbage. We may have an example of throwing something away today. Let's see where we're at. That's the plan. All right. 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 Gotcha. Expecting a fight. I like where it goes. It just turns out I have to rewrite everything it takes to get there. Expecting a fight. Firefight. They fired into the air, attempting to scare them into submission with a show of force. Hoping to avoid a firefight, they fired into the air, attempting to scare them into submission with a show of force. The inmates weren't scared. The Mercs plan. The Mercs calculated. The Mercs had made assumptions that were wrong. The Mercs had done something. The Mercs had the distance between overwhelming advantage and inevitable defeat was as short as that between confidence and hubris. They had misunderstood the objective. They had misunderstood the objective. They assumed the goal was money because their goal was money. And money is almost always the goal. Historically, even those with an eye toward to change the system wanted money. Money was power within the system. And power is necessary to change the system. It didn't occur to any of them that power outside of the system money is power inside the system. It didn't occur to anyone that power outside of the system could be anything else. No. Money is power within the system. They had not planned they didn't know. They didn't understand that to change the system required power outside the system. Money was never the objective. The objective was the end of money. The objective the end of money. The destruction of money. The destruction of power. The inmates fell back. The mercs pressed forward and then fell in. Molly. Molly, Rade, and Trin all drank their afternoon cocktails, looking through the windows, watching escaped inmates pretend to play golf as they set up. What are they called? What are the holes with stakes as they laid traps? The first scream came from a merc whose leg sprouted a new sharpened stake from its side. The second, a merc now hanging from a tree. Tathani, the escaped inmate with what could only be described as pyromaniacal tendencies signaled from atop the tree line on the 7th hole. Fires began to blaze. Every merc began to scream. Lieutenant Valentino saw smoke rise, pulled out his phone, dialed 911, and then placed his gun inside his mouth. Put his gun inside his mouth. If he was going to die by failure, King Robes wouldn't get the chance to make it funny. Unfortunately, I think this whole thing has to go. I had a whole thing about becoming Pirate Kings. So let's just get rid of that. That was a little stupid. That was a little bit on the dumb side. What are we at? Ooh. Five pages left. Let's do it. The count heard fires. Count heard. Telltale crackle of fire. Of trees burning. Then he saw 19th hole in fire's light. He walked to the windows, ignorant, no longer concerned, unconcerned by Trin and Rade, uninterested in any uninterested in any former conflicts. Course burn. Had a burnt sienna hue. Distinctive burnt sienna hue. Rade picked himself up. Recovered his gift and limped over to the count, intending to commit murder. For the first time, intending to commit murder. That's his moment. Once you commit one, seems like it might be easier to do it again. Or at least that's what I've heard. Reaction. Reaction. The count held up his hands and crouched low. Rade was on him in seconds, grabbing his arms, pulling them behind his back. He looked to Trent. I got him. Look around. We need to get out of here. I'm not able to move fast, if you get me. I'll hang here and hang on to him. And Jesus. Trin gave him a nasty look. What are you going to do with him? I don't know. I honestly have no idea. Are you going to kill him? What? Are you going to kill him? I mean, no? Jesus Christ. Are you mad at me? This motherfucker tried to kill us. And everyone out there. Why are you mad at me for thinking maybe he's got one coming? Are you going to kill him? Don't I have to? What am I going to, like, knock him out or some other movie bullshit? Am I going to hit him with a frying pan until he has amnesia? I'll choke him out, and he'll fall asleep. You'll what? You'll choke him out? Is that a thing you do? Are you a practiced choker-outer? Do you take reverse CPR classes? As they argued, the Count pulled a string from his inner coat pocket. He meant to pull the grenade. Realizing what he'd done and how much time he had, he lunged at Rade. Trin. Trin, what does Trin do? Trin. How long do you have before Trin could react? Before Trin could grasp the meaning of these actions? No. Neither of them lunged at neither Rade nor Trin noticed nor realized what the actions meant. They continued bickering in ignorance, in blissful ignorance. What the fuck are you going to do when you figure out how big his neck is? Look at that thing. It's freakishly large. Freakishly large. Are you going to kill him? Yes. Fuck me. Yes. Trin gave the smile of one whose 10th I told you so wins an award, a free ice cream. Good. Rade looked up at them. Confused, relieved. Confused again. He felt forgiven somehow. He felt forgiven. Trin turned. They meant to go. They were off to open doors, welcome inmates, take the next steps to victory. Count grabbed Rade by the shoulders. In his right hand, the sharp edge pressing between Rade's. Grabbed Rade. Embraced Rade. Grabbed Rade. The sharp edge pressing between Rade's shoulder blades. The sharp edge, the sharp point of a pin pressing between Rade's shoulder blades. Then King Robe's wish came true. The two of them were bits of burnt sienna splattered on the walls. Trenton was knocked to the ground by the force of the blast. Trin, knocked to the ground by the force of the blast, pushed up without thought and ran to the door, not looking back, driven by the need to survive. In the parking lot, rejoining a jubilant group of escaped freedom fighters, rejoining the jubilant group of victorious freedom fighters. Free of the adrenaline-soaked survival instinct. Trin remembered Rade. They would always remember him. And that is the death of Rade. The tragic death of Rade. Molly's phone rang. The ID said, Papa. She sent it to voicemail. It rang again. Not obviously not taking the time to leave a message. Again. Eventually, she answered. Eventually, she texted. I'm not coming home. We're not done. Just because he's gone doesn't mean you won. Yes, I did. No, you didn't. Oh, come on. How long am I going to do this for? Yes. No, you didn't. Did two. Did two. Stop it, Dad. This is childish, even for you. Ooh, I like that. Nice. All right, almost done. It is not. Listen to me. That guy's dead. I win. Now come home. Wrong. The worst thing you could have done is kill him. Alive, he's a liability. He was kind of an idiot. But dead, Trin's going to turn him into a legend. Who the fuck is Trin? And there we go. Part 1. $25.12.47. Our word count is just short of 40. I don't think that's a problem. I think as far as a part 1 goes, 36,000 words is pretty dang good. That means that this, I don't know, maybe I'll release this as like a serialized thing. You know, like that's how Salinger did it. I wonder if the New Yorker is still publishing 35,000 word stories. All right. It's called The Institution Rade. We have a title. Oh, I don't know. I kind of don't know what to say. Does anybody have any questions? Whew. I mean, all right. Then in that case, I think we're just going to end it there for today. Thanks, everybody. I don't fully know. That's what I've got to transcribe. I don't fully know what we're going to do. Maybe I'll just read this and then we'll see what happens. Yeah. Have a great day, everybody.